AGamer here, and Anet might try to push power down. They might try to nerf the warrior, but I'm going to keep fighting. I'm not going to give up. And this is my warrior build for season 21.
Don't touch mine.
Why should you use mending? 16-second cooldown, it heals for 6.5k, which is a little bit less than a 1/3. Peak performance gives me an extra 7% extra damage, and on top of all that, 3 conditions removed. Very useful to have when you're getting pressured by necros, thieves, revenants, Ellies, guards, any class but warrior. Warrior doesn't have any condies, so mending is not there to help for that. Some people use healing signet. The passive healing is pretty useful, and I kind of like that because even if you get knocked down, stunned, a hit, still going, and as long as you're kiting, that healing signet will put in the work. And if you're getting pressured heavily by condies, that 6 seconds of resistance is going to give you just enough time to get away. Featherfoot Grace, 45-second cooldown is a bit too high for my liking, but it breaks the stun, so if I'm getting pressured heavily by some necro, he pops some condies on me, followed by a fear. I pop off Featherfoot Grace, I break that stun, I gain resistance, none of his condies hurt me, and that goes for all the revs, all the Ellies, and even the burn guards out there. Resistance is going to keep me alive.
Red team, ring the bell! Fire all cannons!
Super speed, make sure I can run circles around somebody, or if I'm getting pressured a little bit too hard, I just need to get out of there. Stomp. That 6 damage is mocking me. Anet is mocking me with that 6 damage. You might as well just ignore that 6, because that 6 does not exist. In the grand scheme of things, that's painful. Oh man, I start talking about that 6 damage and I just can't. Okay, I'm gonna continue. Stomp breaks stuns. It's a stun break. It's very useful. Not only does it do that, it pushes people away.
I was thinking about using.
It gives me stability, and if I hit somebody, it gives me an extra 3 seconds of stability. Which unfortunately, that 3 seconds, if that was increased to 5 or even 5, keep it 5 seconds, I'd be able to pop Stomp off, push a body somewhere, and be able to finish them off.
Get back here!
Seriously.
But that 3 seconds is just a little too short. If I was able to have 5 seconds, I'd be very happy. It removes my immob so I can actually get away. I gain 7% extra damage because, you know, that 7% times, 7% of 6 probably not enough. I'm currently using throw bolas, but I'm saving this specific utility slot for the ones that I'm currently experimenting with for my abilities. Currently using throw bolas because, as a friend told me, no one expects the bolas. It does more damage than Stomp. My balls do more damage than my foot. I have pretty big balls. It does 149. If it crits, it will do maybe like 300. So it's a good starter off. It's good for getting rid of blocks on Guardians, or if you just need to get that initial hit. It immobilizes them for 4 seconds, which is a really good combo with 100 blades.
Oh my god, I'm really glad I got +1 there. I'm really glad I got +1 there.
I'll actually be able to pop off the entirety of 100 blades, perform correctly with the bolas. On top of that, it also gives me 7% extra damage. So with this combo, it is very useful because 100 blades, 7% will do at least maybe 2,800. Not too much, but it'll do with critical hits. It's useful. Maximum count, I have 2 of these, so with the 16-second recharge, I can be throwing balls around pretty quickly, mobilizing some people, and if they're trying to run away, cap a point, or hey, just whatever strategies else I can think of with these bolas, they're useful. And with the range of 1200, I can throw pretty far. Let's move on to the battle standard. I'm gonna actually start off with the fact that Signet of Rage has been, oh, poor Signet of Rage. With that 6 second, 4 second, and 7 seconds, it's very hard to use because it's a skill that's just gonna have to be. You can use it as a combo. You pop this off. You have all that might for 20. You have the swiftness, increases your movement speed by 99 because I have one of my runes, and Fury to make sure I crit. It's a good burst, but I have to be hitting something. Now there's a trick to it because the battle standard it reses allies.
Colosseum's artifacts are accruing power.
Somewhat, I've been having issues with it where it doesn't fully res allies. It pisses me off every time I see it, thinking I got them off. I turn around, they're still down, and I'm crying because I have a friend res now. It actually does damage, surprisingly. Somehow it does damage. It grants Fury, Might, and Swiftness, all that of Signet of the Rage in intervals. I don't remember what the interval is. It doesn't even say on here. Thanks for that. The battle sound needs to be buffed. Just have it res an entire ally. I don't know how it doesn't res. If there's like poison or something, or if there's just too many quantities, it just doesn't res. It lasts for 60. Always. Also, remember to pick up your battle standards. It reduces the cooldown by 60 seconds. There's many a time where I haven't done it.
The tempo! Stillness has appeared.
I feel furious.
So here's the trick between whether you should be using. Also, I'm not mentioning Rampage. Don't use Rampage. It's whether you should be using Signet of Rage or Battle Standard is whether when you don't have the Battle Standard, you miss it. But you're missing but you have the adrenaline gain. But when you have the adrenaline gain, you're missing the battle standard because every time you have a friend down, you can't res them. So it's kind of that thing. And Signet of Rage, you're gonna have to you're just gonna have to figure out a nice combo area to pop this off, grant yourself might, and do some nice damage. With that said, moving on to my equipment. I'm running the demo with Runa Speed. The Runa Speed, even though the swiftness duration was nerfed, the 66% increase in my movement speed basically means all my swiftness gives me super speed, and I grant myself swiftness fairly often, which is the reason why I'm still running some skills where I'm running. I like the extra toughness, which is the reason why I'm using demo, everything else. I like the precision. It's actually more than Berserker, surprisingly, so I crit more, and that's what I really want. Now that I think about it, maybe Assassin? What's that? How much is that? 62% on top of mine. That'd be 82. Not bad. Someone try that. That might be a good idea. Not Marauder. Marauder's pretty good with Necro, actually. Give me back my demo. Anyway, moving on. I'm running Greatsword, Dagger, and Shield. Sigil of Battle. You can experiment with the sigils. I'm not really too keen on them. I just like the mites. I like removing boons every time I hit with my Greatsword. Condition, same thing. Sigil Cleansing. I just want to remove more condies every time I switch to my Dagger. That's basically it. These are kind of experimental. They're not very. It used to be Sigil of Annulment was the way to go because of the boon removal, but now everything's useful. So it's experimental. Whatever you feel is more necessary for battle. My traits: Discipline, Strength, and the Spellbreaker. The core is still useful. You can run this with defense, replace Strength with defense, or maybe even Spellbreaker with defense. Go core, but Spellbreaker is a little bit more useful. Full counter the days is okay. On the discipline line, warrior sprint. There's very small factors Well, you know what? Let's just start with this. Vengeful Return, I don't plan on going down, and Crack Shot, I'm not using any ranged weapons. Warrior Sprint is just the only way to go. But it removes immob, I gain extra damage every time I have swiftness, and my movement speed is increased by 25%, so I'm generally fast even without swiftness. Brawler's Recovery, just Conde removal every time I switch weapon, and I will be switching weapons generally often, so if I'm getting Conde pressured heavily, this is the way to go. Burst Mastery, I want to be hitting with my burst as often as I possibly can in combination with Berserker's power. It grants me swiftness every time I pop them off, increases my damage, and on top of all that, the moment I already have swiftness, I get an extra 3. So in general, that's already 10%. I don't think that's how it works, but my math is a bit iffy. On the strength line, peak performance, just for having this, I have an extra 3% damage overall, and I'm using 2 physical skills, so the Bolas are from 20 seconds to 16, Stomp is from 40 to 32. And they also, when I do pop off physical skills, I gain 7% extra damage for 6 seconds. So it's useful. It's fairly useful. I'm using a greatsword, so Forceful Greatsword is the way to go. The burst is fairly okay. It got nerfed. It's not a lot. My crits went from let's say 5 to 11k to maybe now 2 to 7. So it's fairly harsh. It's fairly harsh. But Forceful Greatsword, I sometimes switch off my Greatsword for my lovely Predator Rifle. And when I do that, actually do I have to do that? I'm gonna do that now. When I go with that, I go with Body Blow. The Great Fatality was only 2k, so it's not too much. And with the Body Blow, Rifle Butt, a little bit more different skills for more pushbacks is useful, especially combined with Mega Bane Tether. It's okay. Now switch back real quick. And then Berserker's Power. I want to be hitting with my burst because that's where all my damage is going to be coming from. And now since they nerfed Might Makes Right, I don't feel it's too useful to have. Because I feel like I'm not doing enough damage, so that extra 20% is useful, but I'm still... You can switch off. Might Makes Right. Try it out. Try both. Berserker's Power if you want to do a little bit more damage. If you want to be a little bit more bunkery, or rather heal a little bit more just so you can stay in the fight longer. Might Makes Right. Go with that. Spellbreaker. Pure Strike is just increased critical damage, and when they're boonless, it just doubles. The guard counter is 3 seconds of protection, which is not that useful because they'll be dazed for about 2 seconds. Well, where's the daze? They'll be dazed for 2 seconds unless they dodge it. But at that point, it's not successful now, is it? Or is it? Does that count? I'm not sure. I don't think it would because you would have to hit. Maybe. But 3 seconds ain't useful. So overall, 7% is just much better. I am running a dagger, and every time I crit with them, I gain quickness, which is a nice combo to throw a bolas, maybe stun them while they don't know what's going on, switch off to gain 100 blades, being able to pop it off, and quickly maybe even to have a little something after for them, because they can't move. A slow counter is a good switch off. Everybody around you gets crippled, they get slow, they can't hit as hard, and they can't run away as fast. So it's all an offset. And last but not least, because the Mega Bane Tether is one of my favorite things, reminds me of that one scene from that one movie with the men fighting sword to sword with the rope between their teeth. It's just a fun skill. Overall, it's just a fun factor. Enemies can't get far, they get pulled. You gain might every time they're within range, and if they're somebody that relies on stealth, they're revealed because they're chained. You know where they are, and you want to kill them. That might is useful 6 seconds on per tick per second for 8 seconds. And overall, look at that damage increase to tethered targets. Now just because you're targeting them, everybody around you can damage them for 10% extra. Now that's useful. So that is my build. Now, maybe some highlights.
taken the graveyard.